2017 mid-year population estimates to compute the crime rates or crime ratios. That is given because of the fact that the current month that we are reporting is July, August, September. So the population estimates to compute the ratios for that will be the mid-August 2017 series. When we look at the murder per 100,000, current quarter we had 8.6 persons having the possibility of being killed out of population estimates of the crime rate. You take the total population of the country and divide it into equal portions of 100,000, and then you then compute the probability of a person ending up being a victim of a murder. So in this instance, that computation gave us an estimate. So the other offenses that are indicated there, the logic is the same. You take the population estimate and then you divide by the population, then multiply by 100,000 to get the whatever crime per 100,000. Then continuing with the big table, we then move to the broad category of contact-related crime. They have both decreased, that is your arson and malicious damage to property. Then the broad category of property-related crimes, all the crimes have decreased within that. Burglary non-residential decreased by 1,011. Burglary at the residential, 10,626. Theft of motor vehicle, a decrease of 2,107. Theft out of or from motor vehicle, a decrease of 7,740. Stock theft, a decrease of 539. And overall, the broad category of property-related crimes decreased by 22,023. Then the other serious crime, the only crime that has increased within that category was the commercial crimes by 2.2%, and overall, the 17 community reported crimes decreased by 55,026. Then the crimes detected as a result of police action, the desired outcome, because they are a proxy of proactive policing or proactive policing and operations, the desired outcome is for these crimes to be more and more detected. Unfortunately, when they are less and less detected, the color coding becomes green, which is, when they are less detected, they become red, which is in contrast to the crime that we desire to see them decreasing. So all the crime detected as a result of police action have gone down. Then in terms of the 17 community reported crime, just giving an overview of the 17 community reported crime, we have the two graphs there, the blue one and the gray one. The blue one indicates the current quarter, that is 2020-2021, and the gray one indicates the previous quarter. So one notices that as we move down the lockdown levels, the margins of decrease from month to month were becoming diminished and diminished. At level 3, which covered from the 1st of July to 17 August, the reduction was 31,128. As we moved to the month of August, the reduction was 19,296. And as we moved to the month of September, which is level 1, starting from which started almost in September, we had a reduction of 4,602. However, what is encouraging is that all the provinces have recorded a decrease for this particular broad category of 17 community reported crimes. Then, selected domestic violence related crimes. We looked at the crimes that have been committed within a domestic setting, whereby the perpetrator and the victim have some kind of a relationship, be it a brother, sister, ex-wife, ex-husband, ex-boyfriend, etc. And for these crimes where we could establish the relationship, for murder, we had 162 cases that were reported that were domestic related. Of these, 86 victims were female and 76 were male. The province that had the highest number of domestic related murders was the Western Cape with 32, followed by KZN with 28, and then the Eastern Cape with 24. Then the rapes, we had 433, of which 401 were female, that is almost 80%. And the highest of these domestic-related rapes happened within the Gauteng province with 96, then Western Cape with 82. The rest of the table we can read out as it has been indicated there. Then in terms of the contact crimes, it follows almost a similar trajectory with the 17 community reported crimes, whereby as we move down the lockdown levels, the margins of decrease becomes diminishing up to a point whereby within the month of September, we for the first time recorded an increase within that particular month in terms of the contact crimes, where we had 1,281 cases more than the previous month. However, July and September we had recorded decreases of 12,221 and 6,889 respectively. Then causative factors in terms of the samples that we could draw from the crime types, we drew a sample of 4,290 for murder cases, a sample of 4,184 for attempted murder, and 20,000 for assault GBH. Then what we have observed within that particular sample, especially with regard to the type of murder, is that most of the murders emanated from arguments. That is 675 murders. This was followed by business robberies, which include house, business or street robberies with 304. Then the third highest contributor within the murder was mob justice or vigilantism with 203, and gang-related we had 200 cases attributable to that particular phenomenon. The rest of the crimes, they follow the same trajectory. Then when we look at the place of occurrence of these crimes, the highest number of murders, that is within the sample that we have talked about, the highest was in public places with 1,992 people killed in public places, street open recreational centers, etc., followed by residences of perpetrators with 964. Then third was at the mode of transport, that is when people are at the bus, car, or mode of transport, 233. Then we had 123 people killed at business premises, which include malls, restaurant, offices, parks, and entertainment. Then similar analysis is done for attempted murder and assault GBH. Then within the crimes of where we looked at the involvement of alcohol, at the bottom table there, we have the same sample sizes that we have used for the previous crimes. That is the sample for murder 4,102, assault GBH, etc., etc. Then we determined that of these samples of murder, 72 of the murders happened at liquor places, that is at taverns, shebeens, pubs, nightclubs, etc. And 46 attempted murders happened at such facilities. 14 rapes out of a sample of 5,168 happened at such facilities, and 966 assault GBH happened at such facilities. Then the top part, because this one is about the place, the top part talks about instances whereby it has been confirmed either by the perpetrator or the witnesses that alcohol had been used. We see that in that instance, we had almost 120 murders that have been confirmed whereby alcohol or drugs have been confirmed to be used. Then we had 179 attempted murders where alcohol was used, and 15 where drugs were used. The rapes, we had 774 where alcohol was confirmed to be used either by the perpetrator or the victim, resulting in 747 of the rapes, and in 83 rapes it was determined that drugs were used. 829 assault GBH where alcohol induced, and then 128 assault GBH was as a result of the use of drugs. Murder, we had recorded the decrease across all the 9 provinces. It was only in the month of September where we had an increase in the murders, where we recorded 171 murders more in the month of September. July and August, we recorded the reductions of 381 and 129 respectively. Then the causative factors for murder, this time breaking down by province, we had 675 murders, as we had indicated, resulting from arguments. And the highest province, which had a factor for murder, was the KZN with 249, Gauteng with 143, Eastern Cape with 103, and the Western Cape with 78, attributing the argument, murders to arguments. I cannot help myself, but I need to mention that only 2 murders in Limpopo were attributable to arguments or misunderstandings. Robbery, the murders that were attributable to robbery was 1, the highest KZN in 90. Second was Gauteng with 76, Western Cape with 73. And then taxi-related murders, 25 was KZN, 16, 33 was in Western Cape, 25 KZN, and then 16 in the Eastern Cape. The rest we can see for ourselves from the table. Then we had 20 police officials killed. Of these, 14 were killed while they were off duty, and 6 were killed while they were on duty. Then from murders, we had a 3-year comparison whereby in 2018-19 we had 10 farm murders, in 2019-20 we had 18, and in 2020-2021 we had 13 murders, that is resulting in 5 more. And these incidents, the 13 murders happened in 10 incidents. We will have incidents that happened together with murder. Then in the next slide, we look at the safety of the farming community. The robberies that happened were 46, 2 kidnappings, 8 attempted murders, 3 rapes. Then the rapes, we had a reduction across all the 9 provinces. Then the places of occurrence for rape, most of the rapes, especially for those that were in the residence of perpetrators, happened within the province of KZN with 710. We had that was followed by Gauteng with 578 rapes attributable to residences of the perpetrator or the victim, and then 3 in the Western Cape, whereby third was Western Cape, where we had 514. Then in public places, KZN again had 215 murders, followed by Gauteng with 212. Then at agricultural land or small holdings, 43 of the rapes happened at, in Eastern Cape. Then we had 17 happening in Western Cape and 15 in Gauteng. Then the trio crimes, that is made up of robbery residential, robbery non-residential, and carjacking. We had in the month of September recorded an increase of 362, that is when we consider the trio crimes together. Then in July and August we had a reduction of 407 and 39 respectively. Then the crime that has increased within the trio crimes, we had a robbery at residential premises increasing by 452 or 8.5%. Then all the provinces have recorded increases in terms of robbery at residential premises, starting in the month of August and September, where we both had increases in those months, 146 and 362 respectively. Then property-related crimes, they all decreased. Then stock theft, we had the increase only in the province of the Northern Cape, and the rest of the provinces recorded decreases. Then when we look at the types of animals that were stolen, the minister alluded that there were 26,322 sheep, And then there were 14,585 cattle, and then poultry was 14,546. 13,844 were goats, and the rest were made up of pigs, horses, game, donkeys, and ostriches. And Minister, Deputy Minister, National Commissioner, members of the media, that is the briefing of the Q2 crime statistics. Thank you.
Thank you very much, General, and thank you very much, Minister, for leading us with the opening remarks. Members of the media, I must tell you that the presentation is going to be live on our website, which is saps.gov.za, and of course, the Minister's speech has been shared with yourselves. We now go to the second part of the press conference, which is taking questions. And let's start maybe from the floor and get an indication of who would like to pose a question and to who. And then we'll also take some questions, if any, on our WhatsApp line. Should we, okay, Hello, go ahead.
Hello, from ENCA. I think first and foremost, if we can just have a sense of the breaking news today about the Lieutenant General, the Deputy Commissioner, dismissal. Has there been some more information found by SABC in terms of the dismissal, or is it still against those alleged allegations against her? And in terms of, Minister, you did say that you are still standing by your word in terms of alcohol. The President did announce that, in fact, it's going to be even in the weekends and its normal hours as per the licenses. Just your response on this, on these new regulations as we look at level 1, as particularly as we move to the festive season. Let me just leave it at that for now.
Okay. All right. Another question possibly? Okay, Madu?
Minister Malu Gelboy from News of Africa. And from these numbers, are you surprised by anything? Is there anything that stood out for you that surprised you? Thank you.
All right, let's take the final question for this round. Going once. Okay. Let's maybe have an indication, Matikwane, if there's a question via WhatsApp.
Thank you, Lorenzo. So we have a question from Patrick O'Reilly from Fleetwatch Track Magazine. They said, I might have missed it, but I didn't hear any statistics on truck hijackings. Our experience is that our truck hijackings has increased substantially over the past months and is now a daily occurrence with millions of rands being lost to hijacking syndicates. There was a past specialized track anti-hijacking unit. This was disbanded. There is now no national specialized unit within the SAPS to tackle this crime, which is conducted by sophisticated and organized syndicates. Responses reactivated by certain SAPS personnel working with private sector units. Is there any plan to reintroduce such a unit into the force? Thank you.
All right. Is that the only one, Matikwane? Okay. Could we maybe just get some responses, Minister? And Jeremy?
The Mwenya issue from the Commission.
Sure.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, Deputy Minister, colleagues, and thanks to the media for the question. I think my response to this question is that the moment there's allegations, whether criminal or departmental, against any member of the South African Police Service, an internal process is sanctioned to address the misconduct departmentally. So immediately after the arrest of the Deputy National Commissioner, that internal process was commissioned and it ended up with a tribunal and that they of course there is an internal investigation which precedes a tribunal, and any information gathered therefrom is utilized to the tribunal before the final outcome is provided. Just the other one on the last question with regard to the introduction of the specialized unit, I just want to then provide a response that we have sanctioned a work study for the revival of a specialized response to crime now, of specialized units. And these include a specialized response to truck hijacking. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, National Commissioner, General Skukun. I had his emphasis that there were only 2 people in Limpopo who died out of argument. You must remember that this Kokunaland is in Limpopo. Maybe the emphasis comes from there. On the truck question, he will give figures, the rough figures. But having said so, 2, 3, 4 days ago, we had serious South African police breakthrough on this question of truck hijack and truck robbery. We might not give the details at the present moment, but we have arrested top guys with the top technology that they are using to hijack the truck, even where they are operating from. As they hijack the truck, they take off the horse and they put their horse on the trailer going forward. So it's one of the biggest breakthroughs that we have done. We hope with that breakthrough we're going to have a much better positive results going forward dealing with this, as the Commissioner has said. But that's what has just happened. Surprised by the figures. I don't know. Surprised. We'll be always surprised why in 3 months 5,000 people died. Really. There will be no time where we say we are fine. When in 3 months, though they are down by almost 340 people, but 5,000 people died. So those figures will forever surprise you, and those figures must urge you to do better work going forward. And you just wonder why those things will be done mostly by people known to those particular people. The other thing that will keep on surprising us and pushing us but working hard on it is the issue of the gender-based violence. Even now, you remember last year when we came with the whole year financial year statistics, out of 21,000 sexual offenses, 18,000 of them happened in the houses known to the victims, which means our boyfriends, our husbands, our fathers, our uncles, and you just go deeper in that understanding why those people will hurt people that they suppose to protect. But also you push up in your working. I have said this thing time and again, that President has declared the gender-based violence and femicide as a second pandemic. So we need to work on those things as such. Do you really want my answer, Lindo, on the alcohol? No. I don't know. Nothing much has changed since alcohol was unbanned. I can't remember the date, but I know that it was banned on the 27th. unbanned on the 1st of June, and banned on the 12th of July, and unbanned again. To be honest, the unbanning of alcohol besides the president announcing, president only added a weekend on the alcohol that has been always there. Nothing more was added. Was a weekend, I think, with some few hours. But alcohol has been around there all the time, and hence we have seen the figures that have been given, and causation being the alcohol. Also, there are areas where your alcohol will be part of. For instance, when you go to recreational things, when you go to parties, when you go to park parties, when you go to beach parties, it does come with that. It does come with that negative impact. I do want to say. I do want to say it's. I believe, or we believe, that better usage of alcohol will result on safer South Africa, especially murders and gender-based violence. I've been tackled by some people called celebrities. Celebrities. I don't want to go to those details, but I want them to know that alcohol cannot be the only, but is one of the bigger or biggest generators of violent crime, crime against women, and crime of murder. So it's important that if we're going to deal with crime per se, we'll have to deal with alcohol. We can't ban alcohol, but there should be better usage of alcohol. Hence, we had lessons that we have received out of COVID-19. You can't be having a shebeen that closes at 4 in the morning. So laws will have to help us there. I'll repeat this one. Went to this shebeen at 2 weeks ago when there was a big noise about. I must admit, is a very high class area called Black Door. It's a very high class. I got in it and I realized that this is high class. It's unfortunate that when we went there, we were from 5 others from Val that are not very high class, and nobody said anything about it. Everybody spoke about the one that is at. It was very interesting. Spoke about the only one that is at Sentin, the Black Door. But we visited one. When, as you entered, you realize that a person that was on the tiller is underage. We asked her, what is your age? She said it's 23, and you realize was telling lies. Finally, she said it was 18. Oh, the father came, and we discovered that this was the father's business. We asked father, why do you put an underage? And she said it was 18. We demanded papers. She was 17. So, not only doing matric, she's supposed to be studying, but even when fathers can protect their own from this alcohol, then you begin to realize that there is a problem about alcohol. Maybe about people that use alcohol. So it's a call to say we need to be strict ourselves, we need to restrict ourselves. As South African, we can't be number 6 in the world. We can't be number 6 in the world to abuse alcohol. That tells you that we're not really social about alcohol, but we're binging, and that's the thing we're talking about. We hope that South Africans will learn themselves and be kind to themselves and be kind to the nation to say, let's be social about alcohol. But at the present moment, there is nothing social about it.
Thank you, Minister. Let's take our last round of questions. I'll start in Pretoria. Okay, you need those figures. All right. There was a request for those figures for truck hijackings. I believe, General Secretary, you do have those figures for us. And then after those figures, we will just take our last round. I believe there are some questions on WhatsApp, and then we'll bring this press conference to a close.
The figures that have been reported for truck hijacking, they are at the bottom of this slide. Truck hijacking, we had an increase of 99 cases. Currently, we have recorded 411 from 312 of the previous court. And then in terms of the month-on-month breakdown, there was an increase in July of 35 cases. In August, there was 13. And then in the month of September, we had 51. So overall, we had 99 more truck hijackings in quarter 2 when compared to the previous quarter 2. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Can we just take those last questions, please, Matibane?
Thank you, Raza. Okay, we have a question from Evelyn Morris, who tracks the local media in Durban. In the community I cover, there seems to be a sharp increase in the number of missing people lately. Can the Minister again reinforce the message that there is no waiting period to report a person missing at the police stations, as people are still being sent away from when doing a report to report someone missing at the community service centers? There's another question from Patrick O'Reilly again. When will details of the trucking hijacking syndicate bust mentioned by the Minister be made available? We need some good news. And then the final question from Daken Masiwa from Food for Mzansi. Speaking on crimes plaguing the Free State, the Minister in his opening remarks said that a task team has been established. What does this task team seek to achieve? Are there any clear goals and timelines attached to them? And the last question is, will this task team operate nationally? If not, are there any plans to roll out a similar task team in other provinces plagued by rural crimes?
Thank you so much, Matikwane. Those are the last questions, Minister. Yes, those are the last questions that we'll be taking, and then we'll bring this press conference to a close.
No, thanks. As I was instructed by a person from Devon, I didn't get the name, it is true. There is no waiting time. For some time, I don't know why, it used to be about 48 hours. There is nothing of that sort anymore. When you suspect that you don't see somebody that you're supposed to see, maybe you ask 2 questions to the friends that went with that person to shop or supposed to know where he is, you immediately raise that with the police. But Commissioner, I would want to, on behalf of the community and the person that asked the question, maybe also emphasize on our seculars, because there are our members that still believe that we have that 48. Though these seculars have been said time and again, but if we can keep on reminding them that there is nothing of that sort. That is a immediate thing that you suspect, you don't see so and so, just immediately report that. The missing persons, please report them to the police, but there is nothing wrong reporting them to other government offices, especially social development offices, especially when they are children, so that there is a pressure from the other department to the police and vice versa to work on those matters. you can even, if I hope that doesn't happen, that you get trouble from some of our police stations, report to other police stations. You try to that one, but please make sure that the information is immediately disseminated. It's easier to check and track people that have just got missed or that are just missing, rather than when you have waited the long time. So that's a call. That's a call that we will make. Yes, details will be released on that one, but for now, because I know there is, while the big breakthrough has happened, there is still a lot of investigation on those matters. We might find ourselves giving details that might help those to deal with these kind of crimes, arming them to be better prepared to avoid and dodge us. So it's better to say South African police have done well on this one, and we're continuing. The details will be given when the time comes. Task team, it's maybe we must say we had a good day in Free State yesterday. We had a very good day working with the farmers. All those tensions you have seen, it was such a cooperative meeting. Everybody wanted to put the effort of how to deal with it. The only thing is that the black farmers, especially under AFU and NAFU, they raised the issues to say there is no better working relationship with other organizations there. But that was put in order to say they will be met having their own complaints, but we want to work together as the farming community. Want to emphasize that point. The farming community work together, defend ourselves together, make sure that everybody's safe, not some category of the people like farmers or farm workers or only dwellers, but everybody there. The task is to look at the ways how this stock is stolen. Surely you did see that there are very high numbers, but those numbers are national. We did see the numbers of the, but those numbers, one thing that has come out of it is a high level of recovery, and so this will be investigated. And the provincial commissioner there came with 5 syndicates that are dealing with stock theft in Free State. 5. Some of them having high-profile people that are dealing with that matter. So, also, this criminality has a value chain. Like these things are taken to abattoirs, are taken to butcheries, and are taken to places of consumption, which will be your washisanyama. I'm told others are taken to hospital themselves and others. So, this task team will be dealing with this, with that chain. That value chain, so that one of the people that is accused on those 2 people that appeared in court, Senegal, last month, was accused of stealing 30 sheep. Definitely you can't eat 30 sheep, so which means you've got a market. So this task team is also working on the market. But one thing that was raised there, the Deputy National Commissioner Masimula was there, the head of Hawks were there. They have created, outside the team, another special team that will be looking at the role that the South African Police Service members are playing. It's been made to say sometimes we are either by omission or commission as the police who are part of it. So we are finding that facts, and then there have to be consequences. National Commissioner has spoken about that. There have to be consequences, but also encourage our police stations to work together with the farming community around there. There were 14 police stations that were raised, that if around those 14 police stations we can closely work with the farming community, this can be seriously reduced and in some other areas even eradicated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Thank you very much, DN. Thank you very much, General. Thank you very much, General Skukune, as well, for the presentation. And of course, thank you to you, members of the media. We do bring this press conference. Is that a question, Linda? Linda? No. All right, we do bring this press conference to a close. Thank you. Let me get him because he could not. Let me get him because of AC. He's ready. Look like. Oh, nice.
That's sharp.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, come in. No, it's parliament na bobo.
Who's this? Who's this?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.